I'm a tutor at Sky Academy. We are looking at the topic of financial maths within the Year 11 standard course. Specifically, we're looking at earning and managing money, which is MSF1. So we're going to talk about overtime and special allowances in this video. And we're going to start with overtime. So overtime is where you work your normal hourly week, but then you do extra work, or you stay behind and do a couple of hours on top of your normal hours. And so you get extra money for the extra hours that you work. And so here in this blue box are the overtime rates. So you could get time and a half, which is your normal pay rate times 1.5, or you could get double time, which is your normal pay rate times 2. So if I worked a 4-hour week, getting $15 an hour, but then I also do some overtime, so I do 3 hours extra at double time, this is what my equation or my working out would look like. I'd get 4 hours times my normal pay rate, plus then 3 hours times normal pay rate, which is 15, times 2 for double time. And that would be my weekly wage for the normal plus the overtime. So let's have a look at an example for overtime. So Lucas gets $16 an hour for a normal 40-hour week. He worked extra this week and earns 3 hours at a time and a half rate and 1 hour at double time. Find how much he works for this week. So I'm going to do it in steps, and I would recommend you do it in steps also. So my first step is going to be calculating the normal income he will get for that week. And normal income is $16 an hour times by 40 hours. And so if you put that into your calculator, you should get an answer of $640. My next step will be to do the overtime. So I'm going to break my overtime step into 2 steps. The first step is going to be time and a half, and my next step is going to be double time. So at time and a half, we have 3 hours times by our normal pay rate, which is 16, times by the time and a half, which is 1.5. And when you put that into your calculator, you should get $72. And now I'm going to do the same thing, but for double time. So he works 1 hour at double time. So times your normal pay rate times double time, which is 2. And you should get an answer of 32 for that. So now I've done my 2 steps, my normal pay rate plus my overtime pay rate. I'm going to add them together, and that's going to give me my total income for that week. So 640 plus 72 plus 32 is going to equal a total of $744. So that's an example of overtime. I really recommend breaking it up into steps so it's clear what you have done. You can see that you've done the normal plus the bonus or the extra overtime. So let's have a look at another example. Bert gets $15 per hour on weekdays. He gets time and a half on Saturdays and double time on Sunday. Bert worked 4 hours on Thursday, 3 hours on Saturday, 5 hours on Sunday. How much did he earn in total? So firstly, I'm going to do my normal pay. So he gets $15 per hour on weekdays. So $15 times by my weekdays. So my only weekday here is Thursday, and he worked for 4 hours on Thursday. So that's going to give me a total of $60. My next step is going to be my extras. And so we work for 3 hours on Saturday, which is time and a half, and 5 hours on Sunday, which is double time. So let's have a look at our time and a half first. We have 3 hours times by the normal pay rate, which is 15, times by time and a half, which is 1.5. And that should give you $67.50. And then finally, my last step will be the 5 hours times by my normal pay rate, which is $15, times by 2 for double time, which will give me an answer of 150. So now if I add those all together, it will give me the total earnings for that week. So it'll be 60 plus 67.5 plus 150. It's going to equal 277.50. So just quickly, there's one other thing we have to talk about in this video, and that's special allowances. So a special allowance is given to employees who may work under difficult or dangerous conditions. So for example, you could be the cleaner who cleans the windows on a skyscraper. And so because you're hanging out on the edge of a multi-story building, it's dangerous. You could fall and you could injure yourself or die. And so they give you extra money because it's dangerous. So that's one special allowance. Another special allowance is when the employee has an expense related to their type of work. So for example, if you work at McDonald's, you might get an allowance to purchase your uniform. And so they're the two special allowances. We don't have any examples to do on those. They're quite similar to overtime work. So you'll get your normal pay plus then an allowance. So it's normal pay plus your allowance. So that's overtime and special allowances.